When I started my journey to understand women and how they think, I always heard this phrase, ignore her and she will chase you. I tried to apply this technique, but without any results, and I began to think it was just empty talk and not true. However, after a long time, I discovered that this phrase was just a surface expression of a deep concept in the psychology of women. I realized that the mistake wasn't in the phrase, but in me, because I didn't understand the concept well. By the end of this video, you will understand with me the psychology of women, and you will learn how to ignore her to attract her and make her obsessed with you. This is one of the most important episodes in the How to Attract Women series, so pay close attention. There's one thing that repels all women, and yet most guys are the embodiment of this trait. What is it, you ask? Well, I'll just give it away. Here it is, neediness. And now you will tell me, but I'm not needy. Yes, my friend, you almost certainly are. You see, neediness isn't just the obvious things, such as being obsessive, going through her text, calling her 69 times a day, and getting super jealous every second she's not with you. Being needy comes through, even in the small things. It comes through in the way you talk to her, treat her, act around her, and so on. But the most clear sign of a needy man is the overall relationship dynamics. Note, although I'm using the word relationship, this can apply to meeting a woman for the first time, dating, being in a long-term relationship, etc. Now, you ask, what do you mean by relationship dynamics? Good question, my friend. Now, a word of warning. This is going to sound very Machiavellian, but I want you to bear with me. You see, it comes down to this. How much effort are you putting into the relationship towards woman? In other words, how invested are you in her and the relationship? The less you give, the more you get. A surefire sign of a needy man is a man who invests a lot of time, energy, effort, and even money into a woman while getting very little, if anything, in return. The more you invest in a woman, the less attracted to you she is. It's really that simple. For you analytical types, the amount of time, energy, effort, emotion, money a man invests in a woman is negatively correlated to her attraction. Except, of course, for the fact that he needs to invest a little bit to get her number, set up a date, flirt a bit, etc. Anyhow, here is an approximate graph. The more invested in her you are, the less attractive you are in her eyes. I know this is completely contrary to all that feel-good emotional bullcrap society pumps into you about how you just need to show her what a nice guy you are. I know you've been taught that the way to get a babe is to wine and dine her for months and buy her flowers and chocolates and take her for rides in your fancy car. That if only you could be nicer to her than every other guy she's met, then she'll want to sleep with you. But it's all a lie. It's not what women are biologically hardwired to find attractive. At best, this sort of needy behavior will land you in the friend zone. At worst, she'll find you sexually repulsive. Either way, you lose. The ironic truth is that the neediest get the least. Needy men get what others give them, not what they want. Men who have zero neediness, on the other hand, get exactly, and often more than, what they want. Women find them irresistible. But why? Why are women instinctively, yes, instinctively, attracted to guys who have zero neediness? Why are they instinctively attracted to men who have options? We will explore the evolutionary reasons for this in the upcoming episodes of this series. But before we move on, let's examine neediness on a deeper level. It's all about the subcommunication. Mindset is everything. It's not so much about the needy behavior itself, but about where it is that the behavior comes from. It's about what your behavior implies about you as a man, the subcommunication. For example, buying a woman you barely know a drink at a bar or bragging to her about your job is obviously coming from a place of perceived inadequacy. You feel you're not good enough for her on your own, or you feel inferior to her, or intimidated by her beauty, and so you attempt to compensate. Meanwhile, the guy who's playfully teasing a woman about something or another is, through his actions, implying the exact opposite. He has zero neediness. In fact, he might be testing her to see if she's good enough for him. He's the catch, and she's just another chick chasing after him. At least this is his mindset. Needless to say, the second guy is going to be seen as infinitely more attractive to women than the first guy, because his behavior implies that he is higher status. So let's take a look at the different levels of neediness, or lack thereof. Level 1, needy. This guy is a needy man. He buys women he doesn't know, drinks in order to buy time to talk to them. When he does get the chance to talk to them, he brags about his job, his car, his apartment, and so on. If he's lucky enough to get a date with a girl, he texts her every day. And not just any texts, but big, long, essay-like texts. He also sends good morning and good night texts. On the date, he asks her where she wants to go. He wants to make her happy. He is too afraid to take charge and lead, for fear that she might not like whatever it is he chooses. The point is this: it's not the guy's behavior itself that is needy. Rather, it is what the behavior is communicating about him. His behavior is communicating that he's too emotionally invested in her, that he's not a man with options, that he probably even feels inadequate unconsciously, or perhaps even consciously, feeling that he's not good enough for her. He feels he needs to compensate, whether that be by buying her a drink despite not knowing her, driving her around, taking her on fancy dates, showing off his high-paid job, and so on. Although all of these behaviors may not be traditionally classified as needy, they nonetheless come from a place of neediness and perceived inadequacy, and that's highly unattractive. Level 2, somewhat needy. This guy isn't as needy as the level 1 guy, but he's still somewhat needy. If a woman prods and pokes in just the right places, he can get defensive and insecure. You seem like a player, she says. What? No, you know I'm not like that. Blah, blah, blah. He feels the need to go on idiotically justifying himself, which brings us right to the next kind of guy. Level 3, zero neediness. The type of guy that women are really attracted to are the guys that have nothing to prove. The guys that give zero f***s. If she says he looks like a player, a wicked grin possesses his face, and he tells her that it sounds like she's got an eye for talent. He has nothing to prove. He knows he's the shit, and he just bathes in his own awesomeness. If anything, this kind of guy tests women to see if they're good enough for him, and he'll playfully tease her about this. For example, nothing beats a good massage. Guy, trying to seduce me by offering free massages? So, what you need to understand now is that the word ignore is directly related to neediness. When you ignore any girl, it means you're not needy. Please focus with me. I don't want to come to you and tell you to start ignoring women and give you those common internet tips that you will like, but won't change anything in you once the video ends. I want you to understand the concept. I want you to develop yourself and your mindset, because this is the right way to attract any woman you want. Your actions should come from within. And before we continue the video, don't forget to hit the like button. We want this video to reach 1,500 likes. I know you can do it. So let's continue our topic. Get it? Don't be needy. And no, neediness isn't just the obvious crazy stuff. It can come through in everything you do. It's all about what your actions sub-communicate, the meaning behind your actions, what your actions reveal about you. Being needy can be as simple as getting your feathers all ruffled up over something she says, such as the aforementioned "you seem like a player" example. It can also be simply investing too much time, effort, and emotion into her too early and/or without getting anything in return. For example, don't start acting like her boyfriend and driving her around everywhere, buying her stuff, and being her shoulder to cry on if she hasn't even put out yet. And even then, I wouldn't recommend doing any of that sort of stuff. Although neediness can come in all different shapes, colors, and sizes, it all smells the same, and women can smell it from a mile away. So hopefully you now have a better understanding of this dreadful little creature known as neediness, because if you're watching me, you're almost certainly needy to at least a certain extent, no matter how small, and it repulses women. Key ideas. 1. Neediness is the single most unattractive trait. You can look like Brad Pitt, but if she gets so much as a whiff of neediness, her attraction will die. 2. It's all about what your behavior sub-communicates. Neediness isn't always obvious. Us guys typically associate neediness with crazy behaviors, such as secretly checking her phone, but in reality, doing unnecessary favors, getting too invested too early, or feeling like you need to prove yourself are all just as indicative of neediness. 3. The less fucks you give, the more fucks you get. Women are biologically hardwired to be instinctively attracted to mentally strong, confident, masculine, dominant men. These kinds of guys aren't needy and have nothing to prove. And so, when your behavior sub-communicates neediness, giving too much of a fuck, her attraction wanes. If you want to attract her, eliminate all neediness. Not just the crazy stuff. I'm confident you're not like that. It's the small things, the subtle sub-communications. Turn the tables by shifting your mindset from "I hope she likes me" to "let's find out if I like her." Try to impress her and she'll be less interested. Be less invested and she'll try to impress you. And we'll cover all of this in the upcoming videos of our series. By the way, thank you for 8,000 subscribers. The family is growing and I appreciate all the lovely comments. Don't forget to tell me in the comments what problem you're facing so I can know exactly what to talk about in the next video. See you in the next video.